Hi, this is War Thunder and our new show, How Not to Lose. Sometimes it is not just enough to show how to do things. Sometimes you have to show how not to do things. I bet many of you often ask yourself, why do I perish all the time and can't destroy a single tank? I know it's tempting to blame it all on the game's balance, the Russian bias, or your teammates. But how about thinking of your own mistakes and try and fix them? Ready? Let's do this. Okay now, how not to lose playing light tanks. Rule number 1, your tank is light. What's the major difference between light tanks and everything else? Speed and maneuverability are key for any light tank. But you will have to keep in mind that engineers had to sacrifice the armor to boost the former two characteristics. Light armor also means low crew survivability, so even the high speed of a light tank is still not a reason enough to attack the enemy head-on. Let's take the Walker Bulldog for example. It has a very good cannon, speed, and good steering. All these characteristics combined are very tempting to try something risky. Seriously, haven't you considered loading APCRs into your M41 and then try and shred someone in a mobile duel? But alas, more often than not, such daring attacks are a one-way ticket for your light tank, a ticket back to hangar. Rule number 2, never consider yourself too fast or too small of a target. Yes, light tanks are good for capturing points. A good tanker can earn more money and experience by capturing points alone than even the mightiest ally with the highest kill tally, especially if you're playing domination. But should you wish to capture some points head-on, you should do it only in the very beginning of any battle, while having confidence that the enemy will not be able to counter you doing so. As soon as you capture that point, fall back. Regroup with your allies and wait for them to engage the enemy in combat. Then, you can help your allies by providing covering fire. If you dislike such tactical approach to combat, well, you can always die a hero's death holding that very first point you captured, but please don't ask me why you got killed again. Rule number 3, remember what you're driving. Many players fail to understand that a light tank is a support vehicle, something that is never used to punch through the enemy's defenses. But even a humble M22 Locust can be extremely useful to the team in high-tier combat. Why, you ask? Because every light tank's job is to notify its allies of the enemy movements, not to mention the artillery that light tanks can call down upon the enemy. If you absolutely have to engage the enemy, then try and aim for vulnerable modules and retreat ASAP. But the intel your tank can provide is essential in urban battles, where a small and nimble tank is hard to spot and is even harder to destroy. Rule number 4, keep moving while keeping your eyes peeled. This rule is similar to rule number 3. While feeding useful info to your allies, you help them coordinate for a decisive attack on some poorly defended area of the enemy, or maybe help them better prepare for an attack from the enemy. But don't do this just once a battle. As soon as you're done scouting the area, relocate fast. Move somewhere where you can see the enemy, but the enemy can see you. Try and become a sort of a mildly annoying insect when everyone sees you but can be bothered to deal with you immediately. Rule number 5, don't get in the way. Finally, the last rule for you. Have you ever seen how some light tank is hiding behind a heavy and is trying to help him fight? But sometimes such help can be anything but helping. If a heavy tank gets under serious return fire and cannot fall back due to such light tank helper sitting behind him, that heavy will burn. Who's to blame here? Yep, it's the light tank that is fast enough not only to help, but to cause troubles to his mates. This is how we imagine a perfect battle on a light tank. Let's take a realistic battle, for example. The map is Eastern Europe, game mode is Domination. The battle rating is at 4.3 and you're driving M22 Locust. While the battle is still in its early stages, rush towards the usually contested middle point, which will inevitably become a bloody battleground. Don't bother going for the point closest to your spawn, because your slower teammates are perfectly capable of capturing it without your help. Okay, we're here. Now, hide behind anything solid enough, sit tight, and capture. Use your camera and artillery map to spot and observe the enemy movement. Once the enemy point is captured, it's time to fall back to your allies and regroup. Whoa, there goes an enemy light tank. This guy clearly did not bother to watch this video, so he's trying to kill this medium tank in front of him. One shot and the enemy light tank is a wreck, so let's proceed. Now, scout the next point. Move along the edge of the map, thus avoiding the enemy, while trying to stay hidden from outflanking medium tanks and other possible scouts. Okay, we've got an enemy in our artillery sights. That's a Tiger. Call down the strike on him, but don't shoot the Tiger, not to expose your hiding spot. Use your chat to tell your allies where the target is. Now, watch and enjoy how your allied Shermans take out the big cat and take over the capture point. Keep moving, getting ever closer to the enemy spawn, from where you can see the futile attempts of the enemy to capture back their home point. Remember to notify your allies of the enemy location while pitching in with your cannon going for the enemy modules if such an opportunity should present itself. Well, looks like the enemy is defeated and the victory is ours. GG. See how it's done now? Think first, act later, and good luck to you.